It's the Scumbag Flanders coming at you today from behind the wheel. Again, here's why I'm flapping the gums. A little bit of traffic. Guns, 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 guns. It is my opinion, we don't really need them anymore. But, at the same time, they are indispensable. I think things will hit the fan if they were just totally taken away. Here's what I mean. Okay, let's go back a few years. Back to the 1700s, when this fine nation of ours was but a wee lassie. Our Second Amendment rights here in the good old US of A is the right to bear arms. So, it essentially means that we can own guns, we can use guns against any aggression. But of course, everything has their consequences and all that. But basically, what I see it is being allowed to have ownership of firearms is sort of a way to keep the government in check. At least it was back then. Now I don't think so. Not so much. The balance is not the same as it was, I think, back in the 1800s, even up to the early 1900s. I think all the way up until then, for the most part, the weapons that the military had at the time and the weapons that the civilians had were on par. They're about the same. But after the wars, the big world wars started taking place, a lot of innovation and weaponry have taken place. And therefore given the military an edge over civilian firearm ownership. So, by that I mean, automatic rapid fire weapons, which, as civilians we can own as well but you gotta go through a boatload of the paperworks, but it's possible. So, but with the advent of explosives, weapons of more mass destruction, not exactly mass destruction, but like talking grenades, anti-personnel type explosives, landmines, rockets, etc., etc. And then, of course, you have aircraft, missiles, bombs, that whole thing, technology basically that just, your average civilian is not going to have. Like in any of these cars right now, because, I'm like dead stuck in traffic right now. I'm just going anywhere. There's probably a load of firearms here. You can just take the car away and just like have the person floating, in the air holding a steering wheel, and then you can see wherever the gun is in their car. I bet you, there's probably from here to the overpass, I bet you there's probably over 20 guns. I bet. Pistols to whatever, legal, illegal, who knows. Anyways. So yeah, really, if you want to put on head-to-head government versus civilians, there's just no way we'd win. It would be a massacre. Yeah, we'd do some damage. There's some crazy people out there with some serious weapons, and it's kind of scary. But in the long run, no, I don't think we'd win against tanks and armored vehicles and resources and stuff, you know, because even though a lot of people have guns, you know, they don't really have unlimited ammunition either way, and you know, they're not skilled in actually, you know, tactics and whatnot. So anyway, but back in the old days, you know, it was musket per musket, you know, the armed troops, the conscripts, all the way to, you know, regular military army. They had muzzle loading muskets, you know. The same with the civilians, you know, the same thing. Muzzle loading muskets. They all had the same weapons. And I would say, really the only difference was the military would have cannons, and then maybe a navy. You know, it was weapon per weapon, you know, varying on conditions. You know, it was the same weapons. You know, all the way up until, you know, I'd say, you know, early 1900s. That was the case. And then, you know, innovation took place, like I said. So now, you know, we have civilian versions of military weapons, which are the same, except some mechanical differences to where, you know, they can't fire full automatic or some other lame reasons. But either way, you know, there's really no need. You know, what civilian, other than recreational shooting, you know, needs a freaking AK-47? You know, it's not exactly pinpoint, dead-on accurate. You know, who needs that? Oh, I use it for hunting. You know, no one's gonna hunt a deer with that. You could, but you know, I mean, who's really, what serious hunter is really gonna do it? Everybody, I think, just has some weird fantasy. I'll admit, maybe I have myself, you know, of being like this G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip and having these weapons and say, oh yes, I just saw this movie, you know, Die Hard or Rambo or some damn thing, and I got the same weapon, and by God, you know, I could do the same damage. You know, don't fuck with me. You see it at gun shows all the time. You got these guys for no reason, because they're not exactly going to go and take down some kind of military compound, but you see these dudes way out of shape, way over the hill, as in old, you know, with all these weapons and holsters and harnesses with bullets and crap all over it, you know. It's like, okay, really, buddy? Really? You look like you just got off the freaking PlayStation playing, you know, whatever the hot game is, Tour of Duty or whatever, you know, and then you're gonna hit the gun show and you got all these guns, and yeah, okay, you can shoot, alright, but are you gonna be able to, like, run with 50 pounds on your back, you know, ammo, being shot at, buddies getting his brains blown out, whatever, running around, you know, you gonna handle that? No. So these guys, I don't know. It's a weird culture. It's like a whole nother otaku culture, really, if you think about it. Like anime guys, you know, they get around, they dress in cosplay, and they're all about it. Well, these guys get all about guns, and man, it's scary. And the amount of weapons, you know, they have, and these are the guys that twist off and go and shoot up a school or something. I don't know. But anyways, there's just no need. I think, you know, in these times and days, you know, we're trying to be evolved human beings, evolved species. You know, violence and wars is not going to get us anywhere, so we really don't need it all. And like I said, let's just say, you know, okay, the whole reason behind this Second Amendment is to keep the government in check. You know, so okay, the government would never start to pull some weird shenanigans, you know, if its civilian-tude, whatever, its constituents were armed, you know. It's like, hey, you know, they could revolt and do some damage, you know. But nowadays, I really don't think, you know, we could stand a chance. So yeah, weapons aren't the choice anymore. Weapons aren't where it's at. I think where it's at is information. I think what it would be more powerful than owning an M1A or M4, MP4 or M whatever, with the 40-watt range, whatever, Uzi 9mm, is having a badass computer, having even a freaking smartphone where you can Twitter and Facebook and stuff. That's where the power is. That's information is where it's at. And the government, I think, is getting wise, or they've been wise to it, and they're they can't stop the internet. No one owns it, but it's with us here, the Homeland Security is coming up with some weird shenanigan rules, to where they can make it easy to crack down on people and bust into their computers and stuff. So our rights, our privacy rights and stuff, our freedom of speech rights are, being challenged all the time. But that's how I think, you could really keep the government in check these days, is information. Of course, I personally don't have access to the White House, and I can walk in and with this little camera or whatever bust some senator doing some crazy thing, or read some papers off someone's desk and say, hey, they're doing something wrong here. I don't really have that, but I guess some people that do, who are able to blow that electronic whistle, put up some posts somewhere and this and that. That's the thing that's going to get that's what I think keeps people scared. There's some committee, a group of senators probably sitting somewhere plotting some weird scheme, and they're like, man, if anybody gets wind of this, we're screwed. And so that's where it's at. That's what's going to keep them in check. That's where the fear is now, I think. So that's, I don't know, that's pretty far-fetched, but that's the gist of what I'm thinking. Coming at you in traffic. Look what we got going on. Yay! Isn't that fun? I've been here for 20 minutes. 20 damn minutes. I'm gonna be late for work. Better text and let them know. Well, shit, damn. Figures I picked the wrong lane to get into. Oh, what an idiot. I was already in the lane over there. Could have been where I needed to be. Oh, no. Like a rollover. Just now cleaning it up. That's sucking a big one for